Claressa Shields tries to play victim after Shalita exposes Claressa Shields' funeral scam against their grandmother and great-grandmother, y'all. Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, anything I say is alleged and in my very, very personal opinion. This is for entertainment purposes only. None of this is personal. The Copyright Act of 1976 is in the description box. Some meat and potatoes, some housekeeping items. So, today we are talking Claressa Shields, surprise, surprise, a.k.a. Pap's Mistress, a.k.a. Pap's Entanglement, a.k.a. Pap's Pick Me, a.k.a. Pap's Side Chick, or as Chris Cyborg would say, it is duck hunting season. We have Claressa Shields playing victim, you guys, and she is specifically playing victim on, she likes to move around these social media platform streets and all the things in regards to her relative that has passed away and recently had a funeral. Now, Claressa originally posted on the Facebook back in May that, her relative was in hospice, prayers for the family, all of this and all of that, but then she went to Aruba with Pap, right? She went to Aruba with Pap. That may or may have not been a three's a crowd or three's not a crowd situation, right? So that happens, right? And then ultimately, Claressa had said, she had put on the Instagrammies that since, the relatives, had been in hospice, everything else, she did an update and she said that the relative has since passed away. And she said that I'm not going to be on social media. Well, that was a lie. That was a lie, and Allah didn't care who told it because she's been all over social media. She does not take any days off of social media because she is obsessed with what the people have to say about her. She is obsessed in trying to control her narrative. She does not want to take a break to allow people to have a break from her. She wants to continue to terrorize everyone with the nonsense, with the foolishness of it all, and especially throwing an entanglement with a married man in people's faces and expecting there to be this praise and this love and all of this and all of that, right? So apparently the other day was the funeral, right? And so Claressa had posted some pictures on the Facebook to, I guess, show proof that she was there, show proof that she was in attendance. You know what I'm saying? But all HWL has broken loose because her cousin Shalita has come forward and basically said that Claressa Shields is a lie, and a lie don't care who tell it. Apparently, allegedly, according to Shalita, Claressa tried to block Shalita from attending her grandmother's funeral. And apparently, allegedly, hired a whole security team to go to a family funeral. Make it make sense. Why do you need security for your own family funeral? Oh yeah, that's right. Because you are beefing with at least one relative that basically, when your former friend Nigeria and like 10 other people tried to run her down, she was not scared of nobody. So you do all that talking on the internet that you're big and bad, that it's on site with anybody else that wants to, have a go at you, only for you to hire security when it is all said and done. No. So what Shalita has since said is that the attempts of trying to block her from going inside the funeral was a flop, was a failure, because ultimately Shalita told, the alleged security, listen, I am willing to take a bullet to see my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to prevent me. So she said that she plans on taking legal action for pain and suffering, loss of wages, and having to see a psychiatrist and be put on medication for, the harm that allegedly Claressa Shields has tried to cause in attempting to block her cousin from seeing her grandmother, and confirmed again that it is not Claressa's grandmother, it is her great grandmother. But basically Claressa and apparently apparently at least one other relative was on some BS and then was trying to figure out the lack of resources that was provided for the funeral services, that apparently there was some stuff that was not done right for the alleged $8 million woman, that I guess some things, you know what I'm saying, did not, pass the smell test, didn't pass the vibe test, as far as an alleged $8 million woman having a proper send-off for the loved one, for said relative. It was all about keeping up appearances and showing up to the funeral with security, taking a few family photos to show that you were there, and get in and get out of the situation, y'all. If there is more that Shalita says, I will do a follow-up video, but that was kind of the gist that I got out of it, that basically Claressa is smoke and mirrors, which is something that we've been saying. It's no surprise. You know what I'm saying? It's not a shocker that Miss Moneybags would, be cheap on a funeral. What would be cheap when it comes to, funeral arrangements and all of this and all of that, but let it be Pap and an all expense paid trip to Aruba. You know what I'm saying? Conveniently around the time that it is Remy Ma's birthday, to prevent any possibility of Pap actually seeing his wife. So Claressa has obviously been made aware of what Shalita has said and has had to say this on the Facebook, y'all. Here we go again with the victim playing and lying again with the laughing emojis. It's never ending. Blood be your biggest ops. My patience at 0 though. I'ma leave, you know what I'm saying, an MFer right where they had me messed up at. Right at the door with a door emoji looking stupid. So it's interesting, in that statement, in that post on the Facebook, that Claressa Shields did a performative thing, because that's where a lot of her families and friends from home are from Flint. It doesn't sound like, to me, that was a denial. It doesn't sound like, you know what I'm saying, you were a little stiff with the pennies and stiff with the coin for the relative's funeral. It doesn't sound like you are denying that you did not have security. It doesn't sound like you are denying that you didn't try to block your cousin from attending her own grandmother's funeral, but because of your own beef and all the things. None of that sounded like a denial to me. And it's interesting that you're saying that your cousin's playing victim, but how many times have you got on the internet and played victim? And there's more stuff that we got to talk about in a separate video, but in this video, I want to focus on the fact that it is the audacity and the hypocrisy for me. Once again, coming from Claressa Shields, acting as though, everybody else is the problem, everybody else is the issue. And you tried to have your own relative banned from the funeral, but because of your own separate beef. And the thing of it is, when there is something monumental that happens in families, it is designed to bring families together, whether it's something for the positive or if something unfortunate happens, it is supposed to bring everybody closer. Instead, Claressa has allowed her fame and her being platformed for the simple fact that she is with a married man, and not because of her success as a female boxer. She's allowed it all to go to her head. She thinks that she's made it big time. She thought for a while that she didn't need her family and friends, right? And then she had to, you know what I'm saying, get her family back into the fold. And then she was doing all that bragging about her friends until Shalita exposed that a lot of her friends don't really like her like that and are bashing her behind her back and are just using her for the clout and the opportunities. And that's really why she's only down to Nene and a couple other people, but everybody else is gone. Though those olives that were all there with Claressa, they're all gone. You know what I'm saying? And Pap's daughter is going to be there for the clout, whoever he's with. Claressa's not special. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really crazy that instead of you, and that's the thing too, Claressa never takes the high road. Claressa never takes the high road, but all that ranting and raving that you did, trying to gain sympathy about your relative, claiming that you were going to be offline, off the internet, all of these things, only for you to make it seem as though it's all your cousin's fault. But I didn't hear a denial in any of this. Did y'all? I did not see a denial in this statement. Basically, you're just calling Shalita an op, but you're not going into depth as far as, you know what I'm saying, anything that she had to say. Like, why would you need security in any capacity if you're not scared of anybody? And that's why I didn't understand why people were hyping up the Alicia Baumgartner slap, because when y'all were face to face at the Netflix MMA MVP Promotions event, you didn't slap her then. You waited until she was surrounded by security. And you wanted to bring security to your relative's funeral? That tells me you're scared of Shalita. That tells me you are scared of Shalita and thought that bringing security was going to scare her away. Just like y'all thought with Nigeria and Shalita. Nigeria allegedly bringing all those people to try to run Shalita down. You know what I'm saying? What was going to do something. And it did. It didn't, you know what I'm saying? It didn't do what it needed to do. Like, it gets to a point where it's like, where is the accountability? Where is the accountability? You know what? That maybe I went too far having the audacity to bring security to a funeral. I went too far to try to have my relative banned. Knowing daggone well how close all of these people are to said relative. But this is how Claressa is. If you have a beef with Claressa, she wants to try to block you from everything. She wants to try to sabotage you from everything. And if Claressa was so nice and so humble and all these things that she claimed, we wouldn't have to be hearing about this. We wouldn't have to be discussing this. You know what I'm saying? But it's just really unfortunate that instead of the focus being on the relative that is no longer here with us and talking about, you know, a peaceful send-off and all of this and all of that, I understand there's always, you know, there's stuff that goes on in every family, right? It's just that some families choose to keep that tea in-house. Some families choose to resolve it from within and not bring it to social media. But Shalita is trying to expose the fact that the image that Claressa is trying to present, that everything was all good with her grandma's funeral. Now I can go back and train for my fight. Everything was amazing. Here's proof of the program that I was there. Here's proof that I took some pictures with some people and took pictures of some people. So that means I physically attended. You know what I'm saying? But we didn't hear about you at all when you asked us for prayers that your relative was in hospice, and that cousin left the comment, another cousin, saying they were trying to call you and they couldn't get a hold of you. Meanwhile, you're on a flight to Aruba. That's what Shalita is trying to put out there. And instead of Claressa stop being so performative and doing all these stunts and shows on the Instagrammies and on the Facebook and on the Twitter/X and all the tickety talk and on the snappity chat and everywhere else, Claressa, you should have just sat there and ate your food. You know what I'm saying? You just sat there and ate your food. But you wanted all of us to think that you were just Richie Rich, the $8 million woman, that you got all this money to blow. And Shalita was like, listen, look at here, that's not the case. That is not the case. And Claressa spent more on that Aruba trip than she did for, you know, her own great-grandmother's funeral, and that's a disgrace. You spent more on a married man than you did your own relative's funeral. That is where Claressa Shields' priorities are at these days, y'all. So, nonetheless, that is it for this video. Do me the biggest favor, and that is to hype the video, please. There's that. That is it. That is all. It's todos es final. It's finito. It's the end of the road. It's the end line for this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.